Sally! You don't belong here.
The sun hangs low in the sky, casting warm amber light through the wide diner windows. Inside, it's peaceful, almost comforting. Plates clink softly. A waitress refills coffee cups. Someone laughs quietly from a corner booth. A country song hums faintly from an old jukebox near the wall. At a small table by the window sits an elderly black woman, early 70s. Her posture is straight, dignified. A purse rests neatly on her lap. A half-eaten slice of pie sits untouched in front of her. Her hands tremble slightly as she lifts her coffee cup. Across the diner, a white male customer, mid-40s, loud and restless, shifts in his seat. His voice cuts through the calm like broken glass. "I'm sick of this place going downhill," he mutters, loud enough for everyone to hear. A few patrons glance up. No one responds. The man's eyes lock onto the elderly woman. "People like you ruin everything," he sneers. The room grows quiet. The jukebox crackles and stops mid-song. The woman looks up slowly. Her voice is calm, polite. "Sir, I don't want any trouble." Her hands shake more now, not with fear, but restraint. The man stands abruptly, chair scraping loudly against the floor. "Don't talk back to me," he snaps. "You don't belong here." A waitress freezes mid-step. Someone whispers, "Oh my God." The woman rises carefully, placing one hand on the table to steady herself. "I'm just trying to eat my meal," she says softly. "Please, leave me alone." For a moment, it looks like it might end there. Then the man steps closer. His face hardens. A racial slur rips through the air. The diner goes completely silent. Before anyone can react. Slap! The sound is sharp, echoing, final. Her glasses fly off, skidding across the floor. Coffee spills. The woman staggers, catching herself on the edge of the booth. Gasps erupt. Someone drops a fork. Time slows.
The chaos hasn't happened yet. For now, the diner is still breathing. Mrs. Evelyn Carter, 72 years old, sits alone at her usual table by the window, the same one she sat at for more than a decade. The afternoon light spills gently across her face, highlighting soft wrinkles earned through years of work, love, and loss. Her church hat rests neatly on the seat beside her, modest, well-kept, the kind worn by someone who still believes presentation is a form of self-respect. In front of her is a slice of lemon pie and a cup of coffee she hasn't touched in a moment. Her hands hover around the mug. They tremble slightly, not from fear, but from arthritis, the quiet companion of age and labor. Fingers, once strong from decades of early mornings and long shifts, now move slowly, carefully, as if every motion is deliberate. Mrs. Evelyn Carter had spent her life serving others, not in headlines, not in history books, but in the quiet places where dignity is built. A waitress approaches her table, smiling. "The usual, Miss Evelyn?" Evelyn smiles back, the kind of smile that makes people feel remembered. "Yes, baby, and take your time." The waitress nods. She knows Evelyn well. Everyone here does. For 12 years, Evelyn has been a regular at this diner. Same seat, same time, same kindness. She tips modestly, but always leaves something extra. Not money, but handwritten notes. "Thank you for your patience. God bless you today." She wasn't loud. She wasn't demanding. She didn't take up space. She earned it. Evelyn reaches into her purse and pulls out an old photograph, worn at the edges. A younger version of herself, a smiling man beside her, his arm around her waist. Her husband, married 46 years, widowed 7. She smooths the photo gently with her thumb, then places it back inside her purse. Around her, the diner hums, conversations, laughter, forks against plates, but Evelyn sits in her own quiet rhythm, content in the ordinary. She has lived through segregation, through whispered insults and open hatred. She has learned the survival skill of restraint, when to speak, when to endure, when to hold her head high and keep going. Mrs. Evelyn Carter had learned long ago that dignity doesn't come from fighting every battle, but from knowing who you are, even when the world tries to forget. She lifts her coffee cup again, steadying it with both hands. Her fingers ache, but her posture never bends. She looks up toward the counter, patient, calm, unaware that in just moments her quiet routine will be shattered, not because she did anything wrong, but because someone decided her presence was a provocation. The bell above the diner door jingles sharply, cutting through the gentle hum of conversation. Heads turn. A man steps inside. Mark Hollis, mid-40s, broad-shouldered, red-faced. The kind of presence that demands attention without earning it. He scans the room like something already offends him. He exhales loudly. "Unbelievable," he mutters. He doesn't wait to be seated. He drags a chair from one table and drops into it with a thud, elbowing it closer to the aisle. His jacket slides to the floor. He doesn't bother picking it up. The waitress approaches carefully. "Hi, sir. I'll be right with—" "I've been waiting long enough," Mark snaps. "This place is always slow now." The word "now" lingers. He glances around the diner, eyes moving from table to table, until they land on Mrs. Evelyn Carter, seated quietly by the window. His jaw tightens. "These places used to be better," he says loudly, not bothering to lower his voice. A couple at the counter exchange an uncomfortable glance. The waitress forces a polite smile. "Sir, what can I get you?" Mark doesn't answer immediately. Instead, he keeps staring at Evelyn. "Why is she sitting there?" he asks, nodding toward her table. The question hangs in the air, sharp and ugly. The waitress stiffens. "Sir, she's a regular." Mark scoffs. Figures. A low chuckle escapes him as his own cruelty amuses him. Evelyn hears him now. She doesn't look back. Her shoulders remain squared. Her hands rest gently on the table, fingers interlaced to stop their trembling. Around them, the diner grows tense. Silverware slows. Conversations die mid-sentence. No one speaks up. A man at a nearby booth lowers his eyes. A woman pretends to scroll on her phone. Someone coughs awkwardly. He didn't come in angry. He came in entitled. And entitlement doesn't need a reason, only permission. Mark leans back in his chair, stretching his arms wide. "I mean, come on," he says, louder now. "You let anybody sit anywhere these days?" The waitress glances toward the manager's station. No one comes. Mark smirks, encouraged. "People like her always playing the victim," he mutters, just loud enough to be heard. Evelyn finally turns, slowly. Her eyes meet his for the briefest moment, not with anger, not with fear, but with something deeper. Disappointment. She takes a breath, steadying herself, not to confront him, but to endure him. He mistook her silence for weakness. He mistook her calm for surrender. Mark leans forward, elbows on the table now, invading the space between them. The waitress whispers, barely audible, "Sir, please." But Mark cuts her off. "Relax, I'm just asking questions." The room holds its breath. Evelyn lowers her gaze again, returning to her coffee, her hands tightening slightly around the cup. She has lived long enough to recognize this moment, the one where cruelty tests how far it can go. And for the first time since Mark walked in, it's clear. He's not done.
The tension in the diner is thick now, heavy enough to taste. Mark Hollis stands near his table, one hand resting on the back of his chair, the other gripping a crumpled napkin. His voice carries, unchecked. Mrs. Evelyn Carter sits very still. She has learned this stillness over decades, the kind that keeps peace when peace is being tested. But his words keep coming, louder, sharper, more deliberate. Finally, she turns, slowly, carefully. She looks up at him, her voice steady but soft. "Sir," she says, almost gently, "could you please lower your voice?" The diner holds its breath. Mark laughs, not a full laugh, a scoff, dismissive, cruel. "Lower my voice?" he repeats. "At your age, you should be grateful anyone's talking to you at all." A few heads snap up. Mrs. Carter swallows. Her fingers tighten around the edge of the table. "I haven't done anything to you," she says. "I'm just trying to eat my meal." Mark steps closer. Too close. "You people always say that," he sneers, "always acting like the world owes you something." The word "you" lands hard. Evelyn exhales slowly. She pushes her chair back with effort and rises to her feet, every movement measured, careful on aching joints. She is shorter than him, frailer, but she stands anyway. "I deserve respect," she says quietly, "just like anyone else." For a brief moment, there is a chance for someone to intervene, a chance for the room to choose decency. No one moves. Mark's face twists. His voice drops, darker now. He spits an explicit racial slur. The word slices through the diner. The waitress gasps. Someone whispers, "Oh my God." Mrs. Carter blinks. Once. The insult lands not just on her, but on every year she has lived, every mile she has walked just to exist with dignity. She opens her mouth to speak again. She never gets the chance. Mark's arm swings. Slap. The sound is sharp, louder than anything that came before. For a split second, the world goes silent. No music, no chatter, no breath. Her coffee cup tips, crashing against the table. Brown liquid spills across white porcelain. Her glasses fly from her face, clattering onto the floor. Mrs. Carter stumbles, catching herself on the booth. Pain flashes across her face, not just from the blow, but from the shock of it. The silence breaks. Gasps, chairs scraping. A woman cries out. Mark steps back, suddenly aware, but not apologetic. Mrs. Carter lifts a trembling hand to her cheek. Her lip bleeds slightly. She does not scream. She does not strike back. She simply stands there, wounded, humiliated, and dignified. In that moment, the diner didn't just witness violence. It witnessed a test of who we are and who we protect. Mrs. Carter bends slowly to retrieve her glasses from the floor. Her hands shake as she wipes them on her sleeve. She straightens, looks at Mark, and says nothing. For a moment after the slap, the diner feels suspended in disbelief. Then everything happens at once. Chairs scrape loudly against the floor. A waitress rushes forward, hands shaking. Another staff member calling out for the manager. Someone shouts, "Hey!" Too late for it to matter. Mrs. Evelyn Carter remains standing. Her hand presses gently against her mouth. When she lowers it, there's a thin line of blood on her lip. Not dramatic, but undeniable. A quiet wound. The kind that shouldn't exist. Mark Hollis takes a step back, palms raised, not in remorse, but in performance. "She provoked me," he says quickly, his voice defensive now. "She got in my face. The words spill out fast, rehearsed, familiar. "I felt threatened," he adds. "You all saw it." No one answers. The manager finally appears, eyes darting between them. "Sir, you need to calm down," she says, unsure of herself. Mark scoffs. "I am calm. She's the one who escalated things." Mrs. Carmer looks at him, really looks at him, as if trying to understand how cruelty becomes justification so easily. She says nothing. A waitress reaches for her arm. "Ma'am, are you okay? Do you want to sit?" Mrs. Carter nods and lowers herself slowly back into the booth. Every movement is careful, deliberate. She straightens her blouse, smooths the edge of the table with her palm. She does not cry. She does not raise her voice. She does not strike back. Violence is loud, but restraint is louder, if you're listening. Mark continues talking, pacing now. "People like her always want attention," he mutters, always trying to play the victim. The words land in a room that suddenly feels ashamed of its silence. A patron finally speaks up, weakly. "Man, you didn't have to hit her." Mark snaps back. "Mind your business." Mrs. Carter lifts a napkin and gently presses it to her lip. The blood soaks into the white cloth. She looks up at the waitress, her voice calm, almost apologetic. "It's all right, baby," she says softly. "I don't want any trouble." The room stills again. Then, almost to herself, she adds, "My son taught me to keep my hands clean." The line hangs in the air, unexplained, unfinished. A few people glance up. Mark snorts. "Yeah? Where's he now?" Mrs. Carter doesn't answer. She folds the napkin carefully, places it on the table, and straightens her posture, the way someone does when they refuse to be broken in public. No one in that diner understood what she meant. Not yet. Outside, faint in the distance, the sound of approaching sirens begins to rise. Mrs. Carter looks toward the window. Calm. Certain. Red and blue lights bleed through the diner windows, washing the walls in restless color. The bell above the door jingles again, sharper this time. Two uniformed officers step inside. The room exhales all at once. Conversations stop. Forks pause mid-air. Everyone suddenly remembers how to behave. Mark Hollis straightens immediately. His shoulders relax. His voice finds confidence again. Before anyone can speak, he steps forward. "Thank God you're here," he says, shaking his head. "This woman caused a scene. I was just defending myself." One officer, younger, attentive, nods as he listens. The other scans the room, eyes landing briefly on Mrs. Evelyn Carter, seated in the booth, a folded napkin pressed gently to her lip. The younger officer gestures to Mark. "Sir, let's start with you." Mark doesn't hesitate. He talks fast, too fast. "She got aggressive, started yelling, got in my face. I felt threatened. You know how things can get these days." He lets the implication hang. The officer scribbles notes. Across the diner, Mrs. Carter waits. Quiet, still. The older officer finally approaches her table, standing just far enough away to feel official. "Ma'am," he says evenly, "can you tell us what happened?" Mrs. Carter looks up slowly. Her lip is swollen now. The blood has stopped, but the mark remains. "He struck me," she says simply. "I asked him to lower his voice." The officer tilts his head. "Did you say anything that might have escalated the situation?" The question lands heavier than it should. Mrs. Carter blinks. "No, sir." The officer nods, unconvinced but polite. Behind him, Mark scoffs loudly. "See? Always the victim." A few patrons shift uncomfortably. No one interrupts. The officer turns back to Mrs. Carter. "Do you have any injuries?" She touches her lip gently. "Just this." He studies her for a moment, then softens his tone slightly. "Is there someone we can call for you? Family? Emergency contact?" Mrs. Carter doesn't answer right away.
She glances toward the window, where the flashing lights reflect in the glass, then back to the officer. Her voice is calm, certain. "Yes," she says. "My son. He's nearby." The room reacts before the officers do. Mark laughs, sharp and dismissive. "Your son," he says. "What's he gonna do? Call a lawyer?" A few people chuckle nervously, others look away. Mrs. Carter doesn't respond. She simply reaches into her purse and pulls out her phone. They heard an old woman asking for help. They didn't yet understand who was about to answer. Mrs. Carter dials a number. One ring. Two. She lifts the phone to her ear. "Baby," she says softly, "I'm at the diner. I need you." She hangs up. Outside, the sirens fall silent. Inside, Mark is still smiling. But something in the room has shifted. Outside, gravel crunches beneath tires. A black pickup truck rolls into the diner parking lot and comes to a slow, deliberate stop beneath the flickering neon sign. The engine idles for a moment, steady, controlled, before shutting off. The driver's door opens. A man steps out. Early 30s, tall, athletic. His movements are precise, economical, the posture of someone trained to be aware of every detail without appearing tense. He scans the building once, calmly, then closes the door and starts toward the entrance. Inside, a few heads turn instinctively. The bell above the door rings. The man enters. He doesn't rush. He doesn't glare. He doesn't speak. He walks straight past Mark Hollis without acknowledging him, eyes fixed on one thing only: his mother. Mrs. Evelyn Carter looks up. Relief crosses her face, subtle, restrained, but unmistakable. "Baby," she says softly. The man kneels beside her booth immediately, lowering himself to her level. He takes her hands gently, inspecting her face with quiet concern. "Are you okay?" he asks. His voice is calm, grounded, controlled. "I'm all right," she replies. "I just want to go home." He nods once. No anger, no threats, just resolve. He stands and turns to face the officers for the first time. "Good afternoon, officers," he says respectfully. "I'm James Carter. I'm her son." The younger officer straightens slightly. "Sir, we're still gathering information." James raises his hand calmly, not interrupting, just signaling patience. "I understand," he says. "I'd like to cooperate fully." He reaches into his jacket slowly, deliberately, making sure every movement is visible, and removes a military identification card. He holds it out. The officer takes it, reads it, then reads it again. Something changes. His posture shifts. His tone tightens with formality. The second officer steps closer, glancing at the ID over his shoulder. A beat passes. That's when the room changed. James Carter is an active-duty United States Navy. The insignia on the card isn't flashy, but to those who recognize it, it speaks volumes. Discipline, accountability, and a standard of conduct that doesn't bend to ego. Mark Hollis notices the shift immediately. His smirk fades. "What's that supposed to mean?" he mutters. No one answers him. James looks back at his mother, gently placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "I'm here," he says quietly. "You're not alone." Then he turns back to the officers. "My mother was assaulted," he says evenly. "There are witnesses, security cameras, and visible injury. No accusation, no emotion, just facts." The officers nod. One of them clears his throat. "Sir, thank you for your service," he says. "We'll take it from here." James inclines his head slightly. "I trust you will." Across the diner, Mark shifts uncomfortably. For the first time since he walked in, he says nothing. Power doesn't always raise its voice.
Sometimes it just shows up.
The younger officer holds the military ID a moment longer than necessary. His eyes move from the insignia to the name, then back to the Nan standing calmly beside Mrs. Carter. His jaw tightens. He hands the card to his partner without a word. The second officer studies it carefully. His posture shifts, not dramatically, but unmistakably. The casual stance disappears. His shoulders square. His voice lowers. "Sir, you're active duty Navy." James Carter nods once. "Yes." The officer hesitates, then asks quietly, "Special warfare?" James doesn't answer immediately. He glances at his mother, making sure she's comfortable, then back to the officer. "Navy SEAL," he says simply. "Home on leave." The words ripple through the diner. A woman at the counter inhales sharply. Someone whispers, "Oh." Across the room, Mark Hollis stiffens. His face drains of color. The swagger he wore so confidently only minutes ago collapses inward. He looks from the officers to James, recalculating, shrinking. "That doesn't change anything," Mark mutters, though even he doesn't believe it. No one responds. James doesn't look at him. He steps slightly forward, not aggressively, but with purpose, and addresses the officers in a tone that carries authority without demanding it. "I don't need to raise my voice," he says evenly. "I just need the truth documented." The sentence lands like a command, calm, precise, final. He gestures subtly around the room. "There are security cameras here. I'd like that footage preserved immediately." The older officer nods. "We'll secure it." James continues, methodical. "There are witnesses," he says, "multiple. I'd like formal statements taken." The younger officer pulls out a notepad, already writing. "And my mother needs a medical report," James adds. "Her injuries should be recorded." Mrs. Carter places her hand on his arm gently. "It's all right, baby," she murmurs. James looks at her, softening instantly. "I know, but it still matters." He didn't demand justice. He understood it, and he knew exactly how it worked. Mark tries to laugh, a thin, nervous sound. "This is getting ridiculous," he says. "You people are blowing this out of proportion." The officers don't look at him. One of them turns and says flatly, "Sir, please remain where you are." The shift is complete. Where Mark once dominated the room, he is now contained by it. James steps back to his mother's side, placing himself slightly between her and the rest of the diner, not as a shield, but as a presence. Mrs. Carter looks up at him, her voice barely above a whisper. "You didn't have to come so fast." He smiles faintly. "You called. That was enough." The man who thinks strength comes from intimidation has just met a different kind of power, the kind trained to protect, not dominate. Outside, another police unit pulls into the lot. Inside, the truth is no longer optional.
The diner feels different now. Quieter. Heavier. An officer stands near the counter replaying security footage on a small monitor. The grainy video shows everything. The insults, the step forward, the raised arm, the slap. There's no arguing with it. The younger officer exhales slowly. "We've got it," he says. Around the room, witnesses begin to speak, not all at once, but one by one. A man from the counter clears his throat. "I saw him hit her," he says, voice unsteady. "She didn't touch him." A woman from the corner booth nods. "He was yelling racial stuff before that," she adds. "Everyone heard it." Each statement chips away at the version of events Mark Hollis tried to build. Mark's confidence collapses completely. "This is insane," he mutters. "You're really doing this?" An officer steps in front of him. "Sir," he says firmly, "turn around and place your hands behind your back." Mark laughs once, short and hollow. "You've got to be kidding me." No one is.
The cuffs click shut around his wrists. The sound echoes through the diner. The same spot where he once stood loud and untouchable, chest out, voice raised, now holds a man looking anywhere but forward. Accountability doesn't shout. It arrives quietly, and it stays. Mark is escorted toward the door. His feet drag slightly, as if the ground itself resists him. As he passes Mrs. Carter's booth, he doesn't look at her. She doesn't look at him either. An EMT kneels beside her moments later, gently examining her lip, shining a small light into her eyes. "You're gonna be okay," the medic says. Mrs. Carter nods. "I know." James stands a few feet away, arms relaxed at his sides. He doesn't glare, he doesn't smirk, he doesn't say a word. He simply watches, attentive, composed, making sure the process is done right. An officer approaches him. "Sir, thank you for keeping things calm," he says. "This could have gone very differently." James inclines his head slightly. "That was never the goal," he replies. "The goal was the truth." Outside, the patrol car door closes. Mark Hollis is driven away, not defeated by force, but by evidence, witnesses, and his own actions. Inside the diner, people begin to breathe again. Some look at Mrs. Carter with shame, others with quiet respect. Justice doesn't always come with applause. Sometimes it comes with paperwork and the courage of those finally willing to speak. Mrs. Carter reaches for her son's hand. He takes it. No victory pose, no final words, just a mother and a son standing together as the diner slowly returns to motion. The diner exhales. Not all at once, but slowly, like a body releasing a held breath. James Carter stands beside his mother's booth, gently helping her dab at the corner of her lip with a clean napkin. His movements are careful, almost reverent, as if every gesture is meant to return something that was momentarily taken from her. "Does it hurt?" he asks quietly. Mrs. Evelyn Carter smiles. Small, tired, but sincere. "I've had worse," she replies. "I'm still here." He helps her straighten her glasses, wiping the lenses clean before placing them carefully back on her face. For the first time since the incident, she looks like herself again. The manager approaches hesitantly. "Mrs. Carter, I'm so sorry," she says. "That should never have happened." Evelyn reaches for the woman's hand. "Thank you," she says softly. "I know you were scared." The officers return, more formal now. One of them removes his cap. "Ma'am," he says, "I want to apologize for how this was handled when we first arrived. We should have protected you better." Mrs. Carter nods, accepting the apology without bitterness. "I appreciate you saying that," she replies. "It matters." Nearby, a man who had sat silently during the confrontation steps forward. His eyes are downcast. "I should have said something," he admits. "We all should have." A woman from the counter joins him. "I froze," she says quietly. "I'm sorry." Mrs. Carter looks around the room, at the faces now filled with regret instead of fear. "I understand," she says, "but next time, don't freeze." The words aren't angry, they're instructive. James watches her with quiet pride. The manager offers to comp the meal. Mrs. Carter shakes her head. "No," she says gently. "I don't want charity. I just want respect." She turns to her son, placing her hand on his arm. "I didn't raise him to fight for me," she says, her voice steady and clear. "I raised him to stand for what's right." The room grows still again, but this time the silence feels different, heavier with understanding. James lowers his head slightly, humbled. "You taught me that," he says. Dignity isn't restored through revenge. It's restored through truth and the courage to meet injustice without becoming it. Mrs. Carter gathers her purse and her church hat. James helps her into her coat. As they move toward the door, several patrons step aside, not out of fear, but respect. The bell above the door rings once more as they leave. Outside, the evening light is softer now. James opens the truck door for his mother. Before getting in, she pauses and looks back at the diner, the place where she was hurt and heard. She lifts her chin. Then she gets in. James closes the door gently and walks around to the driver's side. The truck pulls away. The diner remains behind, quieter than before, but changed. Mark Hollis thought strength was loud. He thought age meant weakness. He didn't know her son had trained his whole life to protect people who couldn't protect themselves. Stories like this don't ask for outrage. They ask for awareness and the courage to choose better when it's our turn. If this story moved you, share it. If you believe dignity should never depend on age or color, subscribe to our channel and tell us below, what would you have done?